Random thoughts video, That's going to be a bit difficult because it's not that long ago since I got out of bed and I can't seem to get my brain in gear, so right now, no thoughts, it's empty. Oh boy. Hey guys, my name is Chris if you didn't already know, and welcome to one of my random thoughts videos where whatever comes into my head, is that the right term? Whatever pops into my head, I'm going to spout out. I've not done this in a while. There's been a lot of things going on in my life. Those of you who watch my vlogs know that, when was it? December. 2 months ago now, that my dad passed away. And not only that, my best friend, my lifelong best friend, Jo, her dad passed away within a week of mine passing away, which was crazy. And of course there's been all sorts of other issues going on, like, and I'm still reeling from it now, my laptop dying, because during my grief, and I've mentioned this on a vlog also, that I punched it because I was at the stage of anger and it was getting me mad, and I only gave it a small punch and that just did it in. I got the blue screen of death on it and I'm like and I'm now just realising that there's certain things that I've not saved. One in particular that really I'm like just so miffed at myself about is, I don't know why I never saved it, but I had this whole, well, lots of pages full of video ideas that I was going to start doing. Even just this morning, as I've started filming videos, I've just filmed a review. I'm thinking, oh, I'll do one of these as well, and then I can do a Smegcrest review, because I've not done that in a while. Realising that on that file, that I no longer have, I put down which episodes that I was going to review. Because I look back at a previous review and a previous episode of Smegcrest where I've reviewed movies and whatever else. I don't know which ones they are, so I'm going to have to look into that. So I may or may not do that today. I can't see it happening. For somebody who's not been out of bed that long, I've got a lot of thought process going on all of a sudden. I guess switching the camera on helps. So yes, I've had a bad few months. My car is doing my nutting. I've mentioned in the vlogs, but every time it rains, and as most people in this country will know, we've had rain pretty much every single day this year. I think we've had 2 days, no, 1 day of no rain. My car is leaking somewhere and it keeps filling up in the footwell of, well, mostly behind my driver's seat, but it keeps spreading onto the other side and into my side. The only one that's not being affected for some reason is the passenger side. That's dry as anything. And also the boot keeps filling up as well. And as much as I've been dealing with that, just the other day another thing started occurring where it keeps flashing up. In fact, I have a photo of it on my phone. I caught it just as it flashed up, because it comes on, then it goes off. Comes on, comes off, and every time it comes on I get the beeping noise and it's really irritating. I've got to the point where I'm turning my music up loud so I can't hear it and I'm just ignoring it. So yeah, it keeps coming up with this: service, vehicle soon. And yes, there's the dismiss option, and I do that, but then it just pops back on again. So I've just started ignoring it. Don't know why it's doing that. I took it to the garage yesterday, yeah, and they said it's like a fault engine light and it needs sorting, but they don't know what the issue is, so they're going to have the car in. When I can do that, I don't know, because as I've mentioned before, I work a lot of 12-hour shifts. So, and I never know what shifts I'm working exactly, or what days I'm working, until the Thursday, sometimes even the Friday before that week. And the garage I go to, they're booked like 2 weeks in advance. So it's a problem. I think I need to get rid of this car. Again, another car that I need to get rid of. Anyway, so yeah, this is why I've not been making many videos over the past few months. But I do want to get back into it. I've been working on the next Smeg Chris. And I say working on because I've done the script, but there's like some compilations that I want to do in it, because it's all about my dad. And so I need to find clips to put together, so that's a slow process. So eventually, once I've done that, I can get on with that. And I've already got ideas for more episodes of Smeg Chris afterwards. So what I'm thinking of doing is, when I've got the time, just write scripts, and so I'll have them ready for filming whenever I can film them. That's my thought process. So I am hopefully trying to get back into it, as well as all my other videos, apart from Agony Smeg. That I think that disappeared a long time ago. I'll tell you another one that I really should do. Yes, I know, I've got a bottle of Lucozade in my hand. I was about to take a sip, but my mouth just keeps running on and on. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, my short films. I have had an idea for this short film, or my next short film, for about, to guess, 7 or 8 years. I even bought some props for it about 7 or 8 years ago, and I still haven't got around to doing it. It's even though it's a short film, it's a long process. I already know this. The editing is going to be ridiculously hard. And now that I'm starting from scratch again with my movie making, because I lost my laptop, I mean, I've got a new one. I bought that middle of last year, and I've slowly been relearning how to do things. I'm not explaining properly, am I? Hold on. As I was making my videos, I had everything already preset. Titles, I'd got loads of music that I could just chuck in whenever I felt like it. Sound effects, special effects. They're all gone. I'm starting from scratch with the new laptop. So I've slowly been remaking titles, which is why on my dashcam videos, some of the titles look a bit different to normal, because they're new. I've had to redo them. The old ones, for some reason, are not there anymore. I don't get that. It's the same program, the same movie maker, but there's different plugins. Is that what they're called? Different, all these different titles. Some are the same, but not all. And I've recently found I've still got all the sound effects that on my iTunes. Why they're in there, I don't know. So I've got to try and I think I need to separate them, or they already are. And then there's all the music that I downloaded over the years, and I've only got one. I found one already, and that's it. And there were loads, like over 100 at the very least. Need to find all them as well. Well, the ones that I frequently used. I can say frequently. Yes. Okay. Good. Aye. Just trying to think what else has been going on in my life. I mean, since I last did a random thoughts, I'm trying to think, did I go to Venice before the last one, or have I been to Venice since? I want to do a whole Smeg Chris about that as well. I've only just started working on the holiday film, which is the first holiday film I'm doing on this new laptop. See, I usually had again, preset stuff, like the end titles, for example, for the end of my movies. I could just incorporate from the previous one into the new one, and then just redo it, put new, like saying what songs are in the film. I could just rehash that and sort of thing. Now I'm going to be doing that from scratch again. It's all fun and games, especially when I'm like, oh, I'm just going to do this, and I get to it and I'm like, I can't do that because it's not on there yet. Or I need to, I've either got it on one of my external hard drives, or I have to download it again. Like I said, the whole list of all the video ideas that I thought I'd back that up. Evidently I have not. And it's the same with a lot of other things. And I thought I backed up absolutely everything. I know for a fact I always back up my videos. Every single video I've ever made is backed up. And that backup has a backup. And I've recently bought new ones so I can have more, because I've run out of room on them. So I'm rambling now. But yeah, I intend to get back into video making as much as I can, like I say, 12 hours. Which leads me on to more work stories, because that's what I've been doing on these videos, work stories, and I've got a whole list I can go through on my phone still. At least I've got this still, for now. I definitely need a new phone, I've noticed. The battery life on this isn't as good as it used to be, and I've had this 5, possibly 6 years already. So yeah, I definitely need a new one. But anyway, let's go on to more work stories from my time at Sheffield Forge Masters in the rolls department. Why am I going into gallery? What the heck? I want to go into notes, not gallery. I'm not showing pictures. Right. All work stories, here we go. Different shifts I've worked. Sorry, I'm reading what I've written down. I wrote this down months and months ago. So, well, when I was on testing, on hardest testing, I was on days regular. And it was, if I recall, because I'm talking 30 years ago. What? Really? Yikes. Anyway. That is shocking. So yes, 30 years ago. Oh man. I was on days regular, so I would be working, and this is before I had a car as well, so I was going by bus. I would work Monday to Thursday, 7:30 through to 4 o'clock. Sometimes I'd work over, like if we had some more work that we needed to do, or I needed to do. I kept asking at one point, saying, do you want me to work over? And they're like, eventually they just said, look, if you feel like you need to work over, work over. So I'd work till 6. But anyway, or sometimes I'd start at 6 and finish at 6, as in 6 AM to 6 PM. Not just clock in, then clock out and go. That's what just like passed through my head as I said it. And then Fridays I'd be starting earlier at 6 and finishing at 1. So it was so at the end of the week I'd done about 40 hours. And the great thing about finishing at 1 on a Friday was I'd go to town and into Sheffield city centre and just go from one end, which was Castlegate, all the way to the other end, which was the Moor, and I'd be popping into all these video shops, HMV, Virgin, Woolworths. There were a few others that I can't even remember the names of, and I kid you not, at this point in time, because I was earning lots of money, I was earning money, I was still living with my parents, I didn't have a car, so I had nothing in terms of outgoing money wise. So I was able to buy every single week, I'm not joking, 10 VHS videos every single week. I know, crazy, but that's what I was doing. I've already talked about how I've gone from testing to working on the induction stand, and then I got into crane driving, then I became the team leader / charge hand. And so there's been lots of different shifts. The one I hated the most was the 20 shifts. I think before that though we were on 15, so it was like Monday to Friday you'd either work in mornings, afternoons or nights. So it was like mornings was 6 while 2, afternoons 2 PM while 10 PM, which was always my favourite shift, or night shift 10 PM while 6 AM. It was like a week of mornings, a week of afternoons, a week of nights. So when you finish your night shift, you've got a very short weekend before you're back on mornings. I hated that. Then we got put on to 20 shifts, and I so hated that one because, and it's very complicated how to say it, but right, say we started on a Wednesday morning, then we did a Thursday morning, then it was Friday, Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday night. So we were working 7 days in a row, and then you got a short weekend because you finished Wednesday morning, and then you were back Friday morning to do Friday, Saturday morning, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday afternoon, and Wednesday, Thursday nights, and then you got Friday, Saturday off, and then you were back Sunday morning. And we weren't getting paid extra for these weekend shifts. It was still a regular payment, regular shift for us. I don't know how they got away with that. I'm still miffed over that. Anyway, and then the better week was when we worked Sunday morning, Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday, Thursday afternoon, and then one Friday night, and you got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. That was the only good thing about that. And I remember once complaining that some people had come in one of the other workshops on a Saturday. And I'm like, oh, it's alright for you, you're getting overtime for this, we're not. And he's like, well, you don't have to be here. I says, yes, I do. This is a regular day for us. Not for you, you're doing it voluntarily for extra money. So yeah, there was arguments, not just with me, but other people as well. And then one day they announced that they were going back to 15 shifts, the mornings, afternoons, nights, 5 days a week. And I said, can't we do it the other way around? And he's like, manager was saying, what do you mean? I'm like, can't we do 1 week of nights, then afternoons, then mornings? And he's like, well, if everybody agrees to that, we'll do that. So I asked everybody, they all said, yeah, let's do that. Which worked out great, because when you finished Friday morning shift, you're finishing at 2 p.m. You're not back to work until Monday night. And it was great. But yeah, there were kind of shifts that we used to work, and you'd cover people when they were on sick or on holiday, do 12 hours here all the time. Right, oh, sandwich van I frequented, yes. Oh boy. For some reason, what was his name now? We had like I want to say stationary sandwich van in some part of the facility that work, well, Sheffield Forge Masters, next to a car park. And for some reason, I used to go there every single day, honestly. But not just for me, others as well. I'd ask people if they want a sandwich, and they give me money and I'd go and get their sandwich. I'd order it in first, but for some reason every time I got there I just got talking to the people who owned it. Can't remember the names. And whilst I'm there waiting for the sandwiches to be made and wrapped up and whatnot, they always had like custard tarts on the side, and I'd be like, I'll have one of them, and I'd be stuffing my face before I'm eating my sandwich when I go back to work. And I'd be there for ages. I used to get told off from my manager all the time, why are you taking so long to be at sandwich shop? I'm like, I go and I'm still waiting for sandwiches, what do you want me to do? Yeah, I got away with a lot on that one. But they didn't stay too long. I think it was only for a few years, and then suddenly they just disappeared and never saw them again. Don't know what happened. So it was like we only had sandwiches on a Friday after that point. Well, when you're on a Friday morning, and so we'd have to go to a sandwich shop, and you get your regular sandwich shop, and you go in there all the time. And then I remember one day, because I always rung up, asked, tell them what sandwich I want, my name, and what time I'd be there for. And this one particular day I'm ringing and it just wouldn't answer. Nobody were picking up. So I had to try and find another sandwich shop. Thankfully at this point, we've got internet on your phone, so I was able to find another place to get my sandwich. And it turned out that the sandwich shop that I frequented, it suddenly just closed out of the blue. There was no warning signs or anything. It just shut down. And then it became an Indian takeaway all of a sudden, like within weeks. So yeah. And yes, right now we do have a sandwich shop local to where I'm working, and usually on a Friday morning I will have a sandwich from there. Although last week I had one on Thursday because I wasn't working Friday, so yeah, I've got to have my bacon, egg, sausage, large, with red sauce. I have to. Shall we do one more? Or I feel like I've done enough talking, but I'm just gonna do one more, I think. Oh yeah. Briefcase in car park next to Powerhouse. That was a fun day. I don't know if it was me or somebody else had spotted. Next to, we had these big doors that led on to the inside where there was all this, what did you call them now? What gave the power to the induction stands. And one day, out of the blue, there was a briefcase sat outside it, and that was it. Nothing else there, just a briefcase. So obviously, panic stations. Was it an explosive device? Was there a terrorist plot against us? And me being dumb and as I usually am, I'm like, oh, I'll go and have a look at. My manager had to tell me to stay away from it. I'm like, but it's just a brief. Stay away. And we were calling the police and like getting authorities involved. And before any of them could show up, this car just come along, parked up next to where the briefcase was. This guy got out, picked it up, put it in the boot of his car and drove off. It was somebody who just forgot to take his briefcase with him. And I was like, see, I told you there was nothing wrong. It's just a briefcase. Oh man, that was a weird day. There's a lot of weird things that happen. Now I'll get to them when I get to them. I feel like I've talked too much already now, so I'm gonna finish this video. I'm just remembering something else that I don't think I've mentioned before, but I'll write it down and reveal it next time, possibly. Anyway, I'm gonna go now. So all that's left for me to say is thank you for watching and subscribing if you have, and liking this video if you did. Until the next time, peace out. You know, I'll just mention it. Back when I used to work in the office as the office junior, or an office junior, some people had been working outside and they were drilling into the floor. Yeah, they didn't realise there was a water pipe there, and as soon as they went through it, straight up into, it must have been going about 30, maybe even 40 feet up into the air, this spout of water just chucking up, and we're like, wow, cool. Because we were all just stood next to the windows watching it, going, that's cool. Yeah, that was another daft day.